Hey guys, Pro here at VIP Outdoors. Today we're going to go over the difference between our 3.5 Colorado and our 3.5 Cascade spinner and spinner blade and when to use them. So we're going to start with our 3.5 Colorado. Our 3.5 Colorado definitely will put us on the map here at VIP Outdoors when you're talking about salmon tackle in the Northwest. And what this originally was, this was actually one of my original summer steelhead blades that I used to tie in front of the coon shrimp below Bonneville and catch the heck out of steelhead. Then I'd tie up the small spinners to be able to catch summer Chinook, and the rest is kind of history from there. But anyways, I get asked all the time, when do I go to the Colorado? When do I go to the Cascade? So when we're looking at these spinner blades, we're looking at the overall design and what they're made for. The Colorado blade with that rounded bottom blade, it's made for a fast water presentation. Hence, I used to fish below Bonneville with it, sitting on anchor. When that blade rotates on a Colorado, it rotates very close to the shank of the spinner. Okay? That does a couple different things. When you think of the anatomy of a fish with the eyes being on the side of the head, there's a couple different ways that they see things very well. Number one being on the side of them, and then the other one being up above. So as this rotates through the water, if I'm that salmon, if I'm alongside of, or below, or on the other side, I see it very, very well. With that blade close down to the shank, if it's traveling directly away, or directly into a salmon, there's not a lot of profile for that fish to be able to see. So when I use that Colorado is when I have fish that I can place this spinner right beside or above. So let me give you a couple scenarios. If I'm looking at my graph and say deep water, and so any depth of water, and I see fish sporadically throughout my graph, and they're not concentrated to a certain depth, I always start with the Colorado. And what I do is I start with being the least invasive as possible. So I start my gear above them. Fish it down here, I'm above them because I want them to come up and chase and see if they're willing to chase. Then what I do is I gradually drop it throughout the water column so I find a depth that they're willing to cooperate at. That's only when I see fish in a lot of different areas, because again, I'm trying to get that blade right above them to make them come up and get it, or I want it right beside them to where they're going to turn and get it. One of the ways I know when they grab it, when it's right beside them, is I pay attention to that hook placement when I reel a fish in or a customer reels a fish in. If that hook is in the corner of the mouth, that tells me that that fish turned on it and it bit it right in the corner of the mouth, okay? So that tells me I made the right choice by going with the Colorado. There are some times with the Colorado, I drop it down into their wheelhouse, if you will, to where I think it's gonna be alongside of them, and then those fish notice it and they start to trail. And once they start to trail, you get those really short bites that almost look like a trout bite, or they take a whack at it and they missed it. A lot of times that's because they lost the presentation. That's when I go to a Cascade spinner. The Cascade spinner, unlike the Colorado, it has the pointed bottom that when rotating sticks up away from the shank of the spinner. So as it rotates, you definitely have some side profile and below, but more importantly, when you take it into or away from a fish, they have a profile to be able to hone in on. If you think about all of our shallow water fisheries, and I consider that Cascade blade more of a shallow water presentation, so 20 feet or less, just say for example. But when you think about all of our tributary fisheries, say Tillamook or a lot of the Alsea, the Silettes, a lot of the stuff up in Alaska, where you have 20 feet or less, think about the predominant blade. It's a Cascade blade. Now, generally speaking, you're talking about a size 6, 7, even 8. But what that is those fish can't go up or down. So they start to trail things. So you give them a blade that stands up away from them, and you can take it away from them, and then they come up and they bite it. That's that old school slackline bite that we used to get, okay? So that's why we went to that Cascade blade. So when fish start to trail. So again, Colorado is more of my deep water blade that I play with in different depths. If I don't see that it's getting bit as well as it should and that the fish are not fully committing to it, then I switch to that Cascade. Or if I have shallow water, I go directly to the Cascade. Or, like I said before about marking fish all over the graph, if I'm marking fish in a certain concentration of depth, I'll go to my Cascade blade as well and put it right in their wheelhouse and take it into them and take it away from them. But anyways, guys, that's the difference between our 3.5 Colorado and 3.5 Cascade. I hope that helped. If you have any questions about those presentation methods, feel free to leave them in our comment. Give us a like. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, and we'll have more great videos for you. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate you.